Hello, this is Leonardo, and in this video I'm going to explain you how the polyphony is going to work in VCV Rack version 1. So what I have here is I'm running Rack, one of the development versions. The version that I'm using has not been released yet, but it's going to be available in I guess less than a month. And yes, it's going to have this feature called polyphony. And I have received many questions on how it's going to work, and I also seen people confused, so I'm going to try to explain everything as clear as I can. So I'm going to start making a simple patch. I'm going to add a MIDI CV, which I want to use with my computer keyboard. And I'm going to add a basal. Then I'm just going to add an envelope. So I'm going to connect the voltage, the gate signals, the output of basal to the VCA, and I'm going to add a scope just to see the signal. So here we have it. I'm playing it with my keyboard, and let's listen to it. So I'm playing 4 notes, one after the other, and keeping pressed the previous. So that's how it sounds. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the MIDI CV output a polyphonic signal. So we have it here, and I can select how many polyphonic channels I want. In this case, I'm gonna select 4 channels. And the first change that we see is that the cables became thicker. So these cables represent polyphonic cables, and we are sending a polyphonic gate, a polyphonic pitch signal. Basal, since it received a polyphonic input, it became polyphonic, and now is outputting a polyphonic output, which goes into spank, the same case of spank, and outputs a polyphonic signal. And now I'm going to press 4 notes. So there is one problem here. So I'm pressing 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we only see we only hear 1 note, and it's skipping 4. So why is this happening? This is happening because I have connected a polyphonic output to the main to the audio output, which is monophonic. So in order to understand better how the polyphonic behaves, I'm gonna let me switch here. I'm gonna show you like the concepts behind the polyphony. So this is a monophonic cable that you can find in Rack 0.6 and before, in which we have a jack that inputs a signal into the cable, and on the other side we have a mono signal as well. A polyphonic cable, what it does is like a collection of these cables. So we have channels, and right now Rack has the limitation of 16 channels, so we can send the output from one jack, from one polyphonic jack to the input of another polyphonic jack, and we send 16 signals. We can send up to 16 signals, and we don't necessarily have to send information on all of them. For example, if you don't want 16 voices in your synth because you don't need to calculate 16 voices, you can only send, let's say, 4, and only 4 voices are going to be processed, and the other, if you want to send 16, then it's going to consume more CPU. So yes, we have multiple channels and we can define how many of them we want. If we go back to this example, here's where I define how many channels we have. And if you want to know, you want to visualize how which channels have activity, I'm gonna use this new module called Vis, and I'm gonna put it into the output, and I'm gonna play again the notes. So 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can see how they are rotating, how the activity is rotating. This is because I have selected polyphonic mode in rotate. If I select reuse, I'm pressing 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything it goes into channel 1. Let me go back to the rotate mode. So we only see and listen when there is something on channel 1. And in order to define what's going to happen, I'm going to show you the basic rules of it. So I have defined these cases. So we have what we are experiencing is the case 1, in which we have a polyphonic cable or a jack like this one. In this case is 3 channels, this example, and we're connecting it to a mono channel. So what's happening is that if you connect a poly to a mono, the mono channel is gonna discard the other channels and is gonna only take the information from the first channel. And this is what's happening. You can see there, I just press, we have activity in channel 1, and we listen to the audio because the core audio module, it only cares about what's in channel 1. So if I 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we only have channel 1. And what if we want to listen to all the voices? There is a new module called Sum, which basically takes all voices. In this case, 4. In here we can see that 4 of the small LEDs are active. This means that we have 4 voices active, and mix them all together into a mono output. So I'm gonna take this. We can see it's a mono output. It's a thinner cable, and now I can play my 4 notes. Let me increase the decay. And we have a polyphonic synthesizer. Let's check the other cases. The next one that I have defined is this case number 2, when we connect a mono input to a polyphonic, a mono output to a polyphonic input. In this case, what's going to happen is that this signal, which is mono, is going to be, these channels are going to receive information. They are going to copy the information from the mono channel. So one signal spreads among all the channels, and we get information in the tree. Let's make an example of that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take an LFO, which will output a mono signal. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to connect it here to the modulation input, and we can see that it's a mono signal because the cable is thinner. So this information is going to be received by all the 4 instances of basal. So it's going to sound like this. I press 3 notes, and the 3 received the same LFO modulation. To visualize it, let me connect this one here. So this is my case number 2. And there are other cases. For example, what's this In this case, we are connecting a polyphonic output that has 2 channels to a polyphonic input that has 3 channels. So what's going to happen is that we're only sending information in the channel 1 and 2, so these are going to be received, but there is no information on channel 3, so basically you're going to get 0 volts or nothing. The other case is when there is also a size mismatch. We are sending 3 signals from a polyphonic 3 cable into a polyphonic 2 cable, so this one is just discarded. We only receive these 2. And let's make another example. Let's say that I want to these modules are new, and we have other 2 modules that are very handy. One is called merge. What merge is gonna do is that we can take multiple monophonic inputs and turn them into a single polyphonic. So let's say that I want to take the sine wave, the triangle, and we can see that as I connect them, the channels, the LEDs are being lighted, which represent the size of the channel. I have connected 2. This is the 3rd. This is the 4th. And we have a polyphonic signal of 4, and we're going to take this one and I'm going to connect it here. So now we are sending one output of the LFO to each channel of basal. So if I play 4 notes, and we can hear that all of them are being processed differently. So this is the merge, and the other module that we can find is called split. So let's say that we have it does exactly the opposite. It takes a polyphonic output and polyphonic output from another module. I'm gonna take output from here, and we can see that there are 4 channels active, and it splits the signal into mono channels. So let me make a copy of the scope, and we're going to visualize the first 2. So these are the output of the 2 channels, and let me take this one. So what we are seeing here is the first 2 channels. We are merging the channels, the polyphonic channels, and then splitting them into monophonic, and we can see the waves. So with these 4 modules, they're very handy. We can use them to create or to visualize or monosynthesizers. So let's make one more that's slightly a bit more complicated. So instead of this, okay, there is one important thing to notice here. The first one is that the premium modules of Vult are gonna be all of them polyphonic, but the free ones, not all of them are, they're gonna be polyphonic, but they're gonna have limitations of the voices. I'm gonna show you, let's say Lateralus. We have 2 versions, the free and the premium, which right now they are marked with this small banner, so you can see them in the browser, and you can easily identify which one is which in case you have installed both. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take a this module. I'm gonna take this output, which has 4 channels, and I'm gonna connect it to the Lateralus from the premium version. Let me add a sum. I will add this one here, and then we can listen to the output. So I'm gonna press the 4 notes. Let me increase modulation. And a bit the resonance. I'm gonna add an LFO just because that way we can hear. No, not to this one, to this one. And we can see that we have activity in all the 4 channels. But if we do the same with the free version, it's limited to 2 channels. So we only output, we're gonna output only 2 channels. So the only modules in the free package that have full polyphony is basal, it's gonna be bleak. Free has full polyphony. It's also the envelopes, spank and slap. Spank and slap, and also within the filters, let me change it, the only free that has full polyphony is stabile. Let me put the free version, this one. So this one has full polyphony. So there it is. Other important thing to notice is that, as you can see, I have a polyphonic input into stabile, and immediately the output becomes polyphonic. But if I don't connect anything, the output is monophonic. This is because the modules become polyphonic when you input a polyphonic signal, but not all the signals make them the module polyphonic. Let's say that I want to take this input from spank, which is this output from spank, which is polyphonic. It enters here, but the module is still monophonic. We can see the output. So what's happening is that it's only taking the first channel, and until I connect the input, until I make the input polyphonic, the module becomes polyphonic. So in all the Vult modules is gonna behave like that. There is one, the modulations will not turn a module polyphonic, only the hot signal, let's call it, like the inputs of filters, inputs of effects, gate signals, or the volt per octave signals. So that's it. I hope that this make the things more clear for you once a polyphony is released in version 1, and just enjoy the feature. I think that is quite nice in some cases, like in this, when we want to create like more complex sounds with less modules and with a simpler and smaller version of your rack. So thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.